It is hard to imagine that a Stone Age hunter-gatherer would have had much in common with someone from the 18th century. Almost every aspect of their lives would have been very different. The structure of their families and communities, what they ate and wore, how they made a living, and what they did for fun. But in one respect, their existence was remarkably similar. Both of them are likely to have lived stagnant economic lives, stuck in an unforgiving struggle for subsistence. In fact, some argue that not only was an ordinary person in 1800 no better off than in 100,000 BC, but they may have been poorer. This does not mean they had less money in their pockets. The first currency, the Mesopotamian shekel, was only created about 5,000 years ago, but that their living standards were probably lower. This is a remarkable thought. In the millennia that separated their worlds, the bulk of human history would unfold. Great wars would be won and lost. Civilizations would rise and fall. Cultures would flourish and fade. And yet, from an economic point of view, none of these events really mattered. The fate of an average human being remains stubbornly the same. Born at any moment during this period, you would expect to spend your life trying to secure the basics of survival. The hope that provides many people with meaning and purpose today, that with diligence and hard work, your economic future might be brighter than the past, would have been preposterous if that idea had even occurred to them at all. Extraordinary claims like this require extraordinary evidence. The challenge is that finding reliable evidence in the past, particularly the remote past, is difficult. But it is not impossible. A picture of economic life during this vast expanse of time can still be patched together from an eclectic variety of different sources. And what emerges is a strong case for what we can call the long stagnation, a 100,000-year stretch in which very little changed in the living standards of human beings at all. The last 2,000 years. A useful starting point on this empirical hunt is England. For the past millennium, its institutions, its government, churches and monasteries, colleges and charities, have been remarkably stable, and their record-keeping unusually assiduous. This allowed the economic historian Gregory Clark to estimate the living standards of Englishmen all the way back to 1209, figuring out their real wages rather than simply the nominal amount of money they received.